Welcome to the 1% podcast. My name is Haris.
And my name is Derek.
And today we're going to talk about a topic, but I think let's, have a chat before we actually move into a very interesting topic for today. So, Derek, how do you think about the Oppenheimer movie?
I think it's a cinematic piece.
Okay.
But I'm not one to appreciate it that much.
Right. Very clean answer.
Yeah, because I think fundamentally when you look at Christopher Nolan, you think about cool stuff like Tenet. You think about what else is there? Interstellar, right? And if you're expecting those kind of stuff, no lah, right? Because it's a documentary about World War II. So it's kind of bound to be boring. I think I expected a bit too much. I think, Haris, you were telling me, you sold me this. You and Jing Yong, both of you told me that there were going to be elements of time travel and all that. I'm like, wait, let's do it.
Like, it's Christopher Nolan. It's like Tenet, like Interstellar.
Interstellar. What else? There's a lot. Inception, right? There's a lot,
so it's like very, I would say, mind-boggling kind of like concepts of movies, right? So I kind of have that expectation for Christopher Nolan. But when I saw the trailer, right, it was good, but at the same time, it was like a documentary. And I'm like, okay. So like, I did have the expectation of like not having, high expectation in a sense. But after watching the movie, I'm like,
man. But I think, no, actually, honestly, if you look at the movie ratings, it's actually quite high, right? And I think it's a cinematic piece. I would say, he what's his name again? The main cast.
I don't know what's the
Cillian Murphy, right? I think he did a very good job acting. He really portrayed a lot of emotions in his every move. I think it was a really amazing piece. But in terms of plot, like, I think we were a bit too hopeful, wishful thinking. We were hoping for some fairy tale to happen, but dude, come on, it's World War II, right? It's about World War II, and but the thing is, they didn't even explain anything about Japan or show any scenes of war. They didn't even show, right? They didn't even show Hitler and all that, which are very important elements to World War II. I think that the focus was very much on like the whole nuclear element of it.
Exactly, like at least put some videos about shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it was completely zero action. It was really a documentary masterpiece, which I think you need to be really into it to appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that's why.
And the thing is, the best part is we brought our entire team there. We went for our first team meeting with Sigma School, and we brought everyone there. We're like, let's go. I was selling it. Haris was selling it. Everyone was selling it, and then we got everyone hyped. And then when we went there, after the movie, we're just like, Haris, what do you say? What do you say?
Worst movie ever.
Oh my goodness!
I couldn't but I think like
that bad.
like
that bad, man.
I've watched better documentaries with less budget and it's still entertaining. So I get that it is a documentary. It is all about putting the character Oppenheimer and telling his story, right? But at the same time,
so I think the moral of the story is just be yourself, because whatever you do, someone will hate you, someone will love you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that correct? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You put too much effort in something, you go into extreme cinematic detail about a historical event, and you have buggers like us who throw shade at you even when you do that, right?
Yeah, I think we are just a minority, right?
I actually don't know. I don't know. Maybe. No, I do see a lot of friends who say I think it's quite equal in this. Some people say it sucked. Some people say they loved it. Yep. So it depends on what kind of person you are.
That's why I'm gonna watch Barbie this week.
Enjoy. You're on your own, with Jing Yong.
Why not? You watch with your girlfriend, man. It's gonna be enjoyable. I think Barbie, it might be an interesting topic because, like, I would say, okay, the topic is not about Barbie, but I would say that it is like a fantasy. Because what I like about the trailer was that Barbie was in her own fantasy of her own dream world. Then suddenly, right, she was thrown into reality where not everything is as perfect as it. It's not because I want to go there for Barbie. It's because
I think honestly Barbie could even be more interesting than Oppenheimer, because it's a movie that is tailored towards a more straightforward audience. It's selling you a dream, whereas Oppenheimer is really just a documentary about what happened in real life. And oftentimes what happens in real life is more boring, right? Relative to interesting fantasy stories like Interstellar, science fiction kind of stuff. So science fiction and fiction in general allows you to go as far as you want, which fundamentally makes it's unfair. It's an unfair trade. One is like fiction and one is like historical events. How do you fight that?
Right, but I think of course the whole point of movies is to entertain and educate, right?
True, yeah.
Right, but at the same time, I do get that the history point of view, you want to But you say it's boring, right? Like, depends on what kind of history.
Depends.
Yeah,
Exactly. I think yeah, true. It depends, right? For people who appreciate like nuclear bombs and like just World War II in general, they may like it. For me, I like evolution. I like things like genetic engineering, right? If you tell me things about, hey, this is how Homo sapiens came to this world, and we found new evidence about how Richard Dawkins first came up with his theory of evolution. I think that would be something that I could be interested in, right? So it depends on the individual. So I think in summary, do whatever you want, because someone will hate you either way.
Yeah. Do you think it's because like we are spoilt with the expectation of movies, or other than Christopher Nolan, like other movies that we have watched, that we expect it to be like fantastic?
I wouldn't say we're
amazing.
spoiled. We're just living in this capitalistic world where people pay for things that gives them enjoyment. So in general, I think simple things like that gives you more enjoyment. So we enjoy it and we're used to it, and we pay for it because it gives us enjoyment. Because if it doesn't give us enjoyment, then we wouldn't be spending money for it.
Right. And then do you think this is because like we are still spoiled in the sense that we have been watching, certain like things since young, like, Pokemon, and then like
dopamine inducing shows, right?
Yeah,
like it doesn't require. But the thing is, I like thought provoking shows like Interstellar and all that, right? So I actually expected this to be thought provoking, but there was nothing much to think about. It was quite straightforward. It is. Yeah, but there were a lot of names. I guess you kind of need to know who's who in the the politicians and all that. But
you literally need to know who is who's who, the history of it to like understand it.
To appreciate it. So I think it's more towards American history, which we know not much of. We know some stuff, but not more than an average.
Exactly.
American. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think in this topic, I guess we want to touch about dopamine and dopamine detox, right? So I think Derek, you chose this topic, right? And why do you think or why do you choose this topic?
I think everything in life today as a human being, right? Everything you and I, everything that we do boils down to dopamine. Most people are for the most part, right? Of course, I think for us, we've trained ourselves a little bit more to kind of have this form of delayed gratification where we put our pleasures later on. We focus on working hard now, aim for 10M, 100M, things like that. We aim for the results, and then we just, as part of the journey, we have to persevere there. It may not all be sunshine and rainbows. It may not all be fun and stuff. It could be tiring and boring. You have to sweat. You have to work overtime. But the goal is at the end of the journey, right? So dopamine is something that you can get in the future, at some point in the future where you achieve a goal that you want to, or you can easily get it right now at the snap of your fingers, right? Switch on social media, pornography, games, Netflix series. Those are things that give you dopamine very, very, very quickly. And if you're so used to having dopamine so easily, right, you will lose that need, right, to fight for dopamine.
Understand.
And I think dopamine is what drives human beings forward, right? And I think before we even go too deep with dopamine, let's talk a bit about what dopamine really is, right? Dopamine is just a neurotransmitter in your head that gives you a sense of happiness.
Pleasure.
Right. That's it. That's about it, right? So everything we do in life is to survive and hopefully be happy, right?
Then why do you think that people are so dopamine addicted?
Well, if you compare something that makes you happy versus something that doesn't make you happy right now, I think by default, humans will go for something that makes you happy.
Right?
If you are in the middle of the desert and you're going to die and you're so dehydrated, you have no water, you see a cup of water right there, that's dopamine right there. You're happy and you see the cup of water, you want to drink that water if you're happy, right? But the thing is, in a desert, water is rare. You gotta maybe fight for it. You gotta trade for it. You gotta pay. Yeah, you gotta do something to get it. The thing is, with social media today, right? That's just an example. With mobile phones today, with its very advanced, internet capabilities, we can get anything we want at our fingertips. We can induce dopamine literally within seconds, which makes you not need to fight for it anymore. And the moment you don't need to fight for dopamine, you're just, I wouldn't want to say it's a mindless zombie, right? That's what people would say, but it's quite a harsh way to put it. But I would say, to a certain extent, if you don't control it, you are a mindless zombie. Because when you're inducing, when you're taking all this dopamine in, you're actually just enjoying, just chilling. You're not really thinking. You're just scrolling. I don't have you done that before? Like just scrolling mindlessly. It happens to me a lot.
Yeah, I think I do, but at some point I will just not do it. So, and the thing is that, how long is long? Right?
Oof. Yeah, that's a good question, right? It's subjective. I think for some people, 10 minutes is long. For me, the moment I start feeling unproductive, I can literally, it's quite embarrassing to say this, but I can literally sit down there and scroll just on Instagram for like an hour. Straight, 1 hour, just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling non-stop. And I think this is something that I struggled with a little bit. It's very hard to get out of it.
Right.
What about yourself? Do you struggle with just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling?
I only do that when I go to the toilet, and maybe.
Right, and that's the limit to it,
Yeah,
how
like
long you
maybe
sit
once
there.
in a while I will see, like, on the Instagram feed.
Oh,
and
so
search.
if you're not on the toilet, let's say you are in bed before you sleep.
Oh,
you're
I
not
don't.
Oh,
I
you don't?
used to. I used to actually
Oh,
go to
nice.
YouTube. I go to Instagram.
Oh yeah, that's exactly
right?
what I'm talking about.
But
Yeah,
then
YouTube, Netflix, or whatever. Right?
Exactly. So the thing is that for me, I realized, because I actually tried sleeping with and without my phone. So with my phone, I actually sleep slower. So I become like I sleep slow, meaning like it take a longer time for me to just like really be in a sleep mode.
Okay.
Versus when I put my phone on the table, which is just across my bed,
Okay.
and I just sleep, it was way faster.
Right.
Yeah.
But doesn't your body crave that dopamine when
Of
you're
course,
all alone at
definitely.
night? So
But
that requires some form of effort to kind of push it away.
in a sense, yes, initially, but
Yeah,
after
initially,
a while,
yes.
yeah, the initial thing, it's
Yes.
like, yeah, but after a while, I got used to it.
You know, this interesting thing that I used to do, right? I used to have this habit of, because I used to read a lot. I still do, by the way, I still do. I got back to the habit, but this thing with reading, right? I used to read a lot, and the thing was like before I sleep, I would read. So after a long day of work, after working out, then between 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., I just sit down there, pick up a book and read, which is I think pretty healthy. I was very happy with it until just a few days of Netflixing, a few days of like just scrolling. Yeah, it's just got so used to just okay, you know what? Now 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. is the Netflix time,
Oh,
right? So it kind of
damn,
pushed
okay.
my reading habit by a mile, by a long way, and I
Okay.
just stopped reading. And recently, I'm just getting back to it. But it's so difficult because the first few days you're still like, you think of it, I just want to use my phone, and sometimes you just don't think. You just very subconsciously take it out because your brain has kind of equated the experience of taking out your phone,
Yep.
clicking on the app.
Yep.
That itself induces dopamine, and by the way, these companies are making money off your
Exactly.
eyeballs, your attention, so
Exactly.
they are incentivized to make you hooked from the very second you're in, right? That
Exactly.
like, that notification, that pop up. Oh,
Algorithm,
someone liked.
like,
Yeah, every
you
single
like
thing
certain
within
things.
it is
Yeah.
optimized to get you hooked.
Exactly.
That you stay 10 seconds longer, right? And
Right.
the moment you keep staying 10 seconds longer, you just end up staying there for long times,
Exactly.
right? So, so that's something that I have. I wouldn't say struggled with, but I would say that is my biggest weakness today when it comes to my level of consistency with doing things. Everything else, I think I'm decently well. I don't gamble too much. I don't drink too much. I don't party too much. I don't go for I don't do anything that is too unproductive currently.
Or detrimental.
But I'm living quite an okay kind of
Yeah.
like a structured lifestyle. But the only thing that creeps in and fucks things up will be this.
Your phone, right?
My phone, it happens. I'm trying to fix it. And what about yourself? So phone, maybe not for you. What's this thing for you? Because everyone got to get dopamine from some source, right?
Yeah. I do get the dopamine effect from my phone, but not to a point where it disrupts my productivity. But I also want to touch upon reading, actually, because I used to read before bed, and I feel that is also a form of dopamine addiction.
Yeah.
Because the whole basis of social media is to make you read or watch whatever, right? I feel reading is the same before bed. There was once where I read like a very interesting book and I couldn't sleep because
you
I
kept
was
reading?
thinking about the book that I was reading.
Wait, sorry. Let me just clarify. You couldn't sleep because you were reading the book, or you put down the book and you were just thinking.
Yeah, the latter.
That's two different things.
No, but the thing is that I want to sleep. The whole point of me back then when I was reading before sleeping was that I want to fall asleep reading a book. So that was my whole yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
But it works, No, it works.
Sometimes.
So for me, right?
Right.
For me, honestly, it's so crazy because I told you I used to read every day.
Yes.
And I started doing my nonsense Netflix and
Yep,
YouTube and
yep.
all nonsense,
Yes.
right? When I came back now to read, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I kid you not, 10 minutes in, I want to sleep.
Oh.
It works
okay.
like a charm. Nothing puts me to sleep more than my book. I put it
Really?
down, take my phone up, I'm awake again.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's this constant battle between these two things. Because yes, I think let me touch back on your point just now about how books actually induce dopamine. You are right.
Yeah.
You are right, 100%. It's just for me, it's a matter of when you do it. So last time when I was still working from home, I used to have this bad habit. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my phone in another room so it doesn't affect my focus. Guess what?
okay.
I start picking out books to read books while I work. And I was just hiding it by the fact that, you know what, I'm reading,
just
it's productive.
swapping
Exactly. But the thing is, I'm not working. And when
shit.
you're working, you're supposed to be working. You're not supposed to be reading a book, right?
Okay.
So so that's a fine line. But I would say this: any form of dopamine that's easy to consume, that is not beneficial in any way, you should just stay away from it, right?
Yeah.
For books are not like quote unquote fun. I would say in general, books are not fun. But it's very beneficial. It is. For me, I still see reading as some form of work that needs to be put in. You need to sit down, to focus and get you into the zone. You got to think. You got to sit down. It's not fun. It's not like watching a video where you don't have to put in effort. Just watch a video, just chill, playing games, just playing. You're just being in the moment, right? But books, you got to put in constant effort to like
understand,
not doze off or to just focus, to understand, just analyze the information, relate it to your stuff, memorize some of things. So it's more boring, I would say.
Yeah, but it so depends, because sometimes when a book is actually very interesting, because I don't read fictional books, I read non-fiction. And then sometimes
non-fiction means like facts and stuff.
Fact kind of books. So sometimes it's so interesting to a point, right, that like I couldn't stop reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite rare
before bed. Then I'm like, oh no, that's not the point of me reading a book, because I want to like
understand.
You.
Once you're in the zone, you just.
I'm like, dude, no.
I understand. No, but it's a lot easier to put my book for me. Yeah. It's a lot easier, even when I'm in the zone. I understand.
That's good. Honestly, that's
so
good.
Because you know why? Because for books there are chapters. So there are like breakpoints. Okay, you're done with chapter. This kind of like tells you, okay, it's time to close. But for phone, right, you can just scroll non-stop. Nothing stops
infinite.
you. Yeah, it's infinite. Straight up, you just scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's designed to do that.
Exactly.
Right? And I think it's really scary. I think a lot of people today are stuck in that. So if you're someone who's able to control yourself, I think you can go very far in life, honestly, because it puts you 2 hours a day ahead of your direct competitor in terms of productivity. If you can focus, I think it's a very sacred hour for yourself, right? This what do you do? Because everyone has a 9 to 6, right? Even if you're a businessman, you're working for a company, whatever it is, everyone has 9 to 6 to pay the bills, and everyone needs 2 to 3 hours to do sports or spend time with family, right? The only time that you have for yourself, which is like 1 to 2 hours a day, it's what you do in those defining hours. Assuming you're sleeping 8 hours a day, right? Of course, don't talk about those who sleep 5 hours, right? Assuming you sleep 8 hours a day, which I think you should, because we can talk about this in another session. But sleep is very important to everything. What do you do in those 2 hours? Do you watch Netflix, or do you read a book, or do you continue doing work, right? Those 2 hours is what defines you over a period of time. It compounds over time, right? And that's what this whole 1% thing is all about, right?
Exactly.
Day to day, 1% is nothing, right? Today I'm me, and one day later I'm still me. But compare that across 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Imagine if you're a guy who in those 2 hours every single day you're just watching Netflix versus someone who's putting in the work. You're gonna lose out by a lot.
Exactly. Okay. Press okay, great. So Derek, I actually can help you solve your problem of
How?
reducing your social media, deleting
tell me
the
about
app.
it. Oh, dude, I guess what? I've tried that.
And
Didn't last for long.
what made you want to download the app?
That's a good question. I actually did that twice. I've been through multiple periods of monk modes in my life. Monk mode meaning just sit down and grind. Okay, let's just define monk mode. Okay, for those of you who are watching, monk mode is a sacred period in your life where they say things like, "Oh, go missing for 6 months and come back a different person." Right? I've done that before. So I think a lot of people who knows me from my coding school now, they know that I have went missing for 8 months to learn the code. That was my period of monk mode where I deleted Instagram, I deleted everything. I just put my head down and work, right? And it was one of the most productive points in my life because I was learning like 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. every single day. Just coding and learning and reading and no Instagram, nothing, right? I think eventually what got me back to it was, I think the devil won over, right? It was like, hey, just download lah, never mind, just download and delete back. So what I did was, okay, just download and delete back.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, it wouldn't harm, right? Just download for like 1 day and delete. Okay, the rule is I must delete by the end of today.
Right.
So I did that and I deleted it. I was like, okay, that's not bad. Over time, it happened every few days. Okay lah, download. And after I'm like, you know what? Okay lah, download, and I'll just hide it in the folder so it makes it harder to press, right? It doesn't work. And over time, it just stayed there. And but I do agree with what you said to just delete it. And now that you mention it, I'm seriously considering to just
delete it, right?
Seriously considering it. Very seriously considering
okay. Because deleting the app is, of course, a drastic measure for most people, I would say. Second thing that I did that really effectively reduced the amount of time that I used in the app is to actually recreate my account. So basically meaning that I deleted my account that I followed my friends since don't know when, and then I just recreated an account and never followed anyone.
Okay, I don't. Okay, never follow anyone. That's a good one. That's a good one. Because I was going to say that if you don't follow your friends, it doesn't make any difference. Because like 99.99% of the stuff I see right now, it's not even my friend's stuff. It's random ass people that Instagram has optimized so well to me, which is always some form of BJJ, some form of poker, some form of coding, startup stuff. It's always those things.
Correct.
And it makes me so hooked because it's designed to hook you in.
Exactly.
So like for yourself, you deleted your main account, I presume, right? And then you created a new account and you don't follow anyone. So what's the purpose of having an account?
So for me, it's just for my friends to follow me, and it's more productive in a sense because I feel that the one thing that's addictive in Instagram is your friends' stories. Because you
wait. If you don't follow people, there's still reels, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't watch reels. I don't
think you're solving my problem here.
Okay, you watch reels. Okay,
yes.
Dang it.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, I don't look at my friends' stuff.
Right. Okay. So then I think I would say that the next thing is to make the time that you watch Instagram or use Instagram, right, as a reward.
Right.
Rather than something that...
So tie it to the reward.
Right? So actually, like, I figured out how to kind of break an addiction. So do you consider this as an addiction?
Honestly, for me now, right, not really, because I don't do it 9 to 6, honestly. 9 to 6, I'm just working, right? The only times I do it is before bed and early in the morning when I first wake up.
But it's something that you want to improve on.
Something that I want to just cancel altogether.
Cancel, right. Yeah. So I think that, for me, to be honest, right, once we see certain things is as bad, I think it's not as bad. It's just that we can accept that we need to use it, right? To use the app Instagram.
Okay.
And I feel that after you realize that it's okay to just use Instagram, the next thing is how much is it okay? 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Yeah. So for me, I feel that using my Instagram is fine because I feel that at most I'll use an hour the whole day. So maybe 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there.
That's a lot.
Yeah. 1 hour for one whole day.
That's a lot, yeah.
Really?
Yes, that's a lot.
1 hour for
I think we should start defining expectations, right?
Yeah, exactly. But let me check.
I think for me, I spend probably 2 hours a day, double of yours. But
wait,
I take it
you
very
say
seriously.
Mine a lot, then what's yours?
No, mine is a lot because I admit it as a lot. But the way you put it was like you don't even spend any time at all. But you're telling me now 1 hour, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, but I think it's more towards, at the same time, next thing that I do is I use it intentionally more than unintentionally. Meaning, right, I go to Instagram, I stalk my friends. That's
so
an
you deliberately
thing.
type someone's name in.
I will go to like my message and then I will just stalk my friends. That's it lah. And then
that's a form of dopamine inducing activity. You have no purpose. You just go there and look at my friends.
But the thing is, right, I have a purpose to go to my app.
What's the purpose?
Is to just stalk my friends, not going to the feed or like reels kind of thing.
Okay, why are you stalking your friend?
Because like FOMO.
Because it induces dopamine. Dude, why are you trying to cover it up?
Bad. No, I'm not saying it's okay. Maybe it's bad to some people, but I don't think it's bad. That's the difference. Because for me, it's like, okay, I stalk my friends, I see how they are, I actually message them, oh my god, blah, 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 whatever lah. Like for me, it's like catching up with my friends, all of that lah. But other than that, it's like,
you know, it takes more effort to go to inbox and click on your friend's page rather than just
exactly.
following
is
them.
That even dopamine?
Why don't you just follow them and see their stories? What's the difference?
The difference is that I need to have effort to do that action versus going to the stories and like mindlessly scrolling the stories. You get it or not? So one is you mindlessly scroll through stories.
Right. I think that's the difference. Right? I don't look at stories, so I think
But okay, whatever the case is, right?
What about reels? Does it not hook you on?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it's toxic. It's very toxic. Because I went through the rabbit hole of going to TikTok and just.
Oh, you went through that rabbit hole. So you deliberately did a detox.
Okay.
Or you just very easy for you. Just
for me, I think I don't know how I did it, but for me, I just say that I don't want to watch reels. Yeah.
Right. So you just tell yourself, I'm not going to do it.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, no. So
it's the same with gaming. I used to play games, Wild Rift or League of Legends, both of them.
Yeah. Dota.
Yeah, League of Legends. I just play it a lot. And it takes up a lot of time. I used to play Clash of Clans. I used to play Clash Royale. I used to play so many games growing up. But honestly, I made the conscious decision to tell myself that gaming is actually not something that's healthy. There's no benefits to it. You can't tell stories out of games. There's no experiences gained out of it. You don't get smarter, better. There's not much benefits from gaming. So I just told myself, you know what, just delete the game and that's it. I moved on from it.
Yeah, I think once you reason something out that is not beneficial, it's actually easier to just stop.
That's
so
correct.
for me, it's like, I knew when I was in TikTok, my mental health was quite bad. Like, I was
due to TikTok.
like like okay. When I say mental health is bad, I'm not saying like I got depressed. Like I'm saying like it was not productive. I was really in a state of like comparison, you know, that kind of thing. So I was like, I feel like shit lah, basically going to TikTok or Reels or whatever kind of shorts, right?
Okay.
Then I just deliberately...
I don't feel like shit going there though. I feel very good.
Okay, then good. That means
wait. What do you mean good? That means that induces dopamine for me, but for you, it sounds like you're natural repellent towards this thing.
Yeah.
These things don't make you feel good.
No, because like...
It makes no sense. Because these things are
everybody's
designed...
different. It is. Yeah. No, for me, it's just like... Of course, you get stuck to the infinite scroll, right?
Okay, you get stuck because it feels good, right?
No, you just get curious of what's the next thing.
Because
for me,
it induces dopamine, right? If not,
maybe,
you wouldn't stay there. If not, you wouldn't stay there,
exactly,
right? Okay.
Yeah. But it's just that to a point where...
So what I'm saying, your subconscious enjoys it, but the rational side is like, no, this is wrong. So there's a dilemma there. Cognitive dissonance, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay,
yeah,
cool.
then after that, like I have TikTok on my phone, but I don't go to the feed anymore.
That's good.
Yeah, I just go to like, what's my dopamine now is, follows. That's it lah. But I'll just look like how many follows I have, and that's
just
it
refresh and wait for the follows.
Not refresh. Just
refresh.
Like next day. Oh,
yeah, you know, back then
followers.
when I did one of my reels got like 500k views, which
nice.
is which I was so freaking impressed, right?
Yeah.
This was back in the days, like this random stupid ass reel, right?
Yeah.
Wow. The amount of comments and likes, and follows, I just refresh and refresh. It felt good. Every time I refresh, I get like 5 new follows.
Exactly.
I was like, and I put my phone aside. I came back to it. It's like, whoa, 100 new follows.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what makes social media platforms so successful, because they incentivize creators.
Yes.
Imagine that level of dopamine, but you're a creator, and then
Correct.
it just makes you feel like, oh.
You crave it so much because the thing is that I've already like reached a certain level of like followers on YouTube, for example, right? And then the thing is that after a while, it just doesn't feel the same.
Really?
Yeah, like
assuming you don't 10x it, right? If
Yeah
one day you
lah.
10x it, then you're, oh.
Yeah, no, but you get
Right.
dull to the senses. Like for example, I got 1,000 subscribers. Oh my god!
Yeah,
And
but
I
what if you
got-
get a million? You
like-
still jump, right?
I mean, it depends.
It's a level of
Because-
magnitude. It's just a magnitude
of
kind
course,
of thing, right?
Definitely, but
Yeah.
it depends on how you get used to that dopamine effect kind of thing,
correct,
right?
correct.
It's like, okay, I get 1 million, okay, I need to get the next 10 million to get the same dopamine effect.
Okay.
But is it worth that 10 million? It depends. Sometimes it is.
I think
right?
it depends on the end goal, right? If it's
Exactly.
dopamine that you need to work for, I think generally it's worth it. Anything that
Okay.
you need to work for, it's worth it.
But at the cost of your mental health. Because for me, like, you know, the dissonance, right? So if you want to reach that 10 million, but you have to like risk your mental health to be...
Oh, right. Of course
Right?
not. Of course
Yeah,
not. No,
so-
but why would you risk your mental health to get 10 million?
No, because the dopamine crave is so addictive to a point that people will sacrifice certain things of their life to...
For example,
Like-
what?
Like for example, okay, Mr. Beast, he openly said that when he was trying to be the best, you know, 100 million subscribers, right?
Right.
He ignored his health,
Right.
so he became fat. Then like,
Right. So I guess it's a matter of balance. Like you gotta find a somewhat balance.
or like
But if he
priorities
didn't
are-
go through that, if he wasn't so crazy about it, maybe he
Yeah.
wouldn't be where he is.
yeah,
today,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I'm
So-
not
so
saying
it
it's
boils-
right or wrong, but it's just that would you risk like your life, like literally your life, to?
I think whatever you do,
reach-
stay alive. Because if you're dead, then it's end of the journey.
Of
Nothing to
course,
talk about. Right?
exactly.
Stay alive.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. That's
Correct,
important as well.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't.
You gotta be obsessive for your goals,
Yeah.
right?
But
If you're
sometimes
not-
the goals makes you not.
honestly, I
happy
would
along
argue
the
that
way.
we're not even obsessive enough.
I
Us,
think I know.
right?
I agree. We're not
I don't think we're
obsessive
obsessive enough. We're so
Yeah.
chill. We're like,
Yeah.
I mean, me lah, more so. Like, I'm going for trainings and all that, right?
Yeah.
I need that old beast in me to come back out, like the Derek Yee 3 years ago, the one that was like starving. Right. I mean, I'm not starving now, but I think the company's starving. I gotta make. Let me take that back. The company's okay.
Yeah,
Right.
But
we're
want
not
to crave
growing.
more. Right?
Yeah,
we want to crave for the
Yeah,
goal.
but we need that hunger, right? We
Yes.
can never feel comfortable, because I think last time, every single month, we had an existential crisis. Every month was like a month that we're gonna shut down.
Right.
It was that bad. Every month is like, okay, is this the final month?
Right.
So every month you had that pressure to perform. Right now we are at a level of comfort where we know we won't go broke. Right? I'm touch wood lah, right? Touch wood. I hope, right?
Yeah.
But the numbers show that we're not going to go broke anytime soon, because
Yeah.
we're still growing, we're getting consistent cash flows, and it's covering all of expenses. We're still making decent profits, right? But I want to 10x that, I want to 100x that, and I think that when it comes to hunger, it has to go both ways, right? Hunger to prove, hunger to survive, and hunger to excel. It's two different things, right? If you only have one side of it, you lose the hunger to survive. You only have the hunger to excel, then you're losing, one pillar to growth.
Is hunger the same as dopamine?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't think so.
Right.
Hunger hurts.
Yeah.
Dopamine doesn't hurt.
Yeah. I think back then when I was like struggling to find a job, like all in, just all in.
All in.
Just,
You, like no gym, like what gym, right?
Yeah.
So maybe exactly. So maybe Mr. Beast, for example, who
Yeah.
by the way I don't follow him that much, but he's someone I respect a lot. But for example, like you said, he was obese or whatever.
Yeah.
That is probably because of his obsession. He didn't feel like he has achieved enough yet. So he's like, what gym? What health? Right? I need to achieve my exactly. Why? So I think we are not obsessed enough.
But I guess it's more towards like, what's our priorities, right? In a sense, like, because obsession means you have most of the time one priority and you just ignore the rest.
That's correct.
It means like for Mr. Beast, he just prioritized the YouTube channel.
Yep,
everything else.
He went all in.
Went all in.
Good for him, it worked out. But for the 90% of guys who maybe didn't work out, then
obsessive and then maybe don't work out, then
or maybe obsessively doing the wrong things, for example, going the wrong path in life.
And actually, that's a cool point, because for dopamine itself, right? Because you crave that pleasure feeling, then that's where substance abuse occurs, right? Yeah. Because right now we are talking about the positive effects of like obsessiveness, the dopamine crave of like achieving more. But what about the other side?
Yeah, of course. So I think in a certain aspect, like I said, if it's a dopamine that you need to fight for and it's healthy, I guess, then it's good, because if you're getting dopamine from business results, getting more revenue, growing the team, getting investors, right? If you're getting your dopamine from these sources, I think it's relatively healthier than getting than getting from drugs that you can just inject in yourself. Right? Someone might argue, you got to work to get drugs, right? That's I think that's a good argument, but I think I'm going to add a second rule there. You need to be healthy, right? If it's a habit that is not healthy, like every time you do it, it makes you die 0.01%. 1% less better, 1% worse, then that's bad, right? So it makes you 1% better and you got to work for it, then
Exactly. I think that's something that, because I think nowadays people are we all are motivated by dopamine. Some will help us achieve to greater goals, some does not. And I think most of the time right now, especially when you go to social media, and if your feed is not as nice as maybe yours or maybe mine, right? Then that's where
what do you mean?
Like, for example,
optimized.
Materialism. So, like, for example, fancy cars, nice watches, that kind of thing. Like, I don't think it's wrong, but sometimes people might, do certain...
I don't have fancy cars and nice watches on my feet.
No, I'm not saying yours. I'm saying by other people, that kind of thing. Like, maybe they want to achieve materialism in terms of...
Right. They want to buy expensive stuff.
Expensive stuff. And then they might, commit certain things that might not be healthy.
If you take a loan and go broke for it, then it's not healthy, right? Exactly. But if you find an asset class, or you find a cash flow source, a source of cash flow that allows you to indulge in this kind of good things in life, then nothing wrong with that.
Do you think that actually making your feed optimized to what you want to be will actually help you instead, right? For example, like your feed is all about self-motivation, 1% podcast.
I think it's important. Because like I mentioned in the previous podcast, we spoke about importance of friends and importance of culture, importance of the 5 people they spend the most time with. And for a lot of people today, the 5 people that they spend the most time with is not with their friends anymore, right? It's them staying at home, especially after COVID. Most people spend time themselves at home, and the thing that they spend their time with the most is their phones. And in their phones, what do they get is it's either games or some form of podcast or just social media in general. And if the kind of content you see are from toxic people or unhealthy people or just not so good kind of content, then that will be the norm that you're going through. Exactly. Right, but if every scroll you get, right, your average 5 scrolls that you get are like, hey, you gotta do better, you gotta be a better man, you gotta be take care of people around. Yeah. Who's gonna carry the boat? They don't know me, son.
They don't know me, son.
If things like that, then it's good, right? But if it's things that causes you to be a bit extreme, right? Maybe toxic masculinity, that kind of things, then it's not good anymore, right? If it's things that tell you, hey, it's okay to be weak and it's okay to be to not want more in life, right? as long as you're happy, I got no comments. But I would say in the grand scheme of things, it makes you lose out as a person in this competitive world. It makes you lose out. But as long as you're happy, right? At the end of the day, right? There's no right or wrong. So we need to be very clear, right? I would say in the competitive economic game that we're playing today, you need to be strong and competitive. But if you're okay and you seek joy and dopamine and enjoyment from just being yourself, being at ease and not competing in this rat race kind of thing, then you do you as well. But just know that you will lose out on the economic scale. You will not be able to buy the better things in life. You will not be able to save people with the cash flow that you have. You
might not have enough freedom that you want to do.
Then that's on you, and you need to be okay with that, right? So you gotta weigh your pros and cons.
Okay.
Done?
Let's do one more. 20 minutes. So Derek, since we are talking about like a lot of this dopamine thing, then why was there a craze about this thing called dopamine detox?
Yeah, I mean, shit, I can't believe we're just touching this topic now. Well, we went on the wrong track, man.
But it's okay, right?
Yeah, but actually, before I go there, I want to share one thing about you talking about, because we talk so much about being stuck on the phone.
Yes.
But let's talk about solutions to it. Deleting the app is one.
Yeah.
What was the one that you said just now?
I think like for me, it depends. Like
besides
have a cognitive dissonance of like being aware that
just be rational about it and say, hey, this is wrong, and just mindfully stop it, right?
Yep.
There's one way you can do it as well. It's called like a time blocker kind of thing, where Instagram actually has an innate feature that allows you to set, okay, stop you every 30 minutes. But it doesn't work for me, honestly speaking. It just pops up, I'm like, okay, just continue scrolling, right?
Because the button is so easy to press, right?
And the button is semi-transparent, dude. It's like it's transparent. It's like it's good. It's not there. It's like
okay, sure, Instagram, okay, thanks. I'm moving on.
It takes less than 0.1 second to just click on it. Whoop. I'm out. Right. I mean, I guess they tried, but if they did so well, they wouldn't have cash flow. So they're not
true.
They don't have the incentive to stop us from using their app. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But you can explore different apps. I forgot the names. You can look for it, but there are apps that literally blocks the app. Third-party apps that literally blocks the app that you want to go through. Which I think could be quite powerful. You know how does this in the more analog days without tech and all that, they have this box where you can put your phone inside
and then lock it.
Or lock it or throw the keys away.
Exactly.
Right. You could back in the days do
that,
right? That works too, but that kind of removes your access to every other app. Right. If you're talking specifically Instagram, then you can get something like that, but just for Instagram. I think it could work pretty well if let's say I don't want to use it at night. Then I just block it at night. Then I'm done, because from 9 to 6 I actually don't use my phone at all. So I don't need any form of blockers, because I guess work is more urgent, right?
Yeah,
exactly. But in bed, when I'm all alone myself,
So like
okay, back to the dopamine detox topic, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
What the shit?
Right. Okay. So back to the dopamine detox topic, right? I think dopamine detox is basically going through an a phase where you just take out every form of dopamine in your life, right? And I think it goes as extreme as fasting, not eating like very savory stuff.
Actually
cutting sugar.
Actually, like that works for me, because there was once where I really can just like don't eat and just work. So I call it dry fast. I don't eat and drink. No water, no food. So a lot of the successful people, like I think Jack Dorsey is one of them, right? He eats like 1 meal a day. Because they talk about how being hungry keeps you on your toes. Though I do agree.
When you're full. You've heard of the motivation podcast, right? Do you know when to strike a crocodile or something like that?
When you're hungry?
No, when right after a meal, because they're satisfied.
Right.
So that's the best time to strike.
Actually, wow.
I listen to it when I jog. I was like, do you know when's the best time to keep? When they're full, don't be full.
Okay.
Keep up the hustle, stay hungry, that kind of things. Right?
Wow.
So
right.
I think it's very important to keep
so
yourself on your toes and be hungry.
Because
but the point detox isn't about being hungry.
Yes.
It's about cutting off anything that gives you dopamine. So let me give a few examples. Just now the first one I said was just staying hungry. Fasting. Not eating like good food to make you feel happy, right?
Actually, can I share a bit on that?
I want to just finish.
Okay, but yes, let's go.
Let me just finish.
No. Okay, you finish. Yeah, go.
Right. So one of the dopamine one of the dopamine detox elements will be things like fasting, not just not putting yourself in a scenario where you get to indulge in very nice foods, right? Because eating those very nice food may not be healthy, it may make you fat, but it gives you a lot of dopamine, so you got to cut it off, right? Going for those like carbonated, sweetened drinks, right? Drinks as well, right? Don't go for those sugary drinks.
Yep.
That's one thing as well. Don't go for desserts, right? That's another thing. Okay, then you move on to cutting out things that are not so good, like pornography. Cut out porn. Cut out social media.
Yeah.
What else is there? I think that's about it.
Friends.
Yeah, friends.
Yep.
Right? You don't go out with unhealthy friends, lah. Right?
Exactly.
Just basically you stay yourself at home, stay healthy, survive with good food, and work.
Right.
That's it. And you don't do anything else that gives you any form of joy.
That sounds like
it's a bit extreme. It is a bit extreme.
But it's a dopamine detox
but
kind of thing,
it's a detox practice because this allows you to cut off everything. It's a reset to your life. Just remember how I talked about how it's very difficult for me to pick up a book and because every 5 minutes I'll feel like sleeping because I'm now used to using Netflix, and relative to Netflix, the book is very boring, right?
Yeah.
But if I cut out every form of dopamine in my life, then it makes it a lot easier to pick up new good habits, right? Because now I'm like, okay, that's nothing relative anymore, right? I don't remember the joy from Netflix anymore. So because everything is relative, dopamine is relative, right? High dopamine activities and low dopamine activities, we will always default to the high ones, right? So if we can cut out every form of dopamine, then we can start practicing new habits, read books, work out more,
right?
Work a bit longer.
Yeah. So I would say that dopamine detox is something that I've tried certain aspects like fasting, right? So for me, back then I was really addicted to McDonald's. So there was a point of time where I just like eat a lot of McDonald's, like lunch and then sometimes dinner as well, the McDonald's. So one thing that helped me was to just fast, and the dry fast. So I don't drink, I don't eat for just one whole day, and then the next day I just didn't have that craving anymore. Yeah, and cravings for me is like if I'm addicted to food, I will eat it. Right? And for me, I don't need new food. I just need to eat the same food. And that was one food that I managed to reduce or remove the cravings of it.
So was it easy?
For me, it was.
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, it was easy.
Yeah, just don't eat for one day.
Exactly.
And, deal with the hunger.
Exactly. And the best part is, or the part that was interesting is that when I drink like sweetened drinks after that fast, it was very sweet. So for example, like, when I was, addicted to eating McDonald's, like, the Coke will be like, okay lah, it's okay, it's sweet, But after that fasting period, and then I drank the same Coke from the same store, it was too sweet.
Right.
So it resetted not only my craving, but my taste buds. Because I believe from that experience, just a hypothesis, that if you keep on drinking the same sweet drinks, it becomes less sweet to your taste bud.
Right, because it's all relative, right?
Exactly.
If you're used to this certain level of sweetness, then you're used to this level of sweetness.
And
but if
you
you're used
might
to no sweetness,
yes,
then this is a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. And the worst part is sometimes people crave for that sweetness, they will go
a bit more. Yeah.
More. And the thing that's even more like there's more sugar content, and that's actually bad for your health if you don't burn that sugar that you consume. Yeah. So like, yes, I do agree fasting, or you call this the dopamine detox, actually works.
So what's one unhealthy dopamine activity that you have now in your life?
So maybe I can share lah. But one thing that I have tried and am still trying out to, I don't know whether it's okay. Basically, I have quit my, I would say, porn addiction for like 30 days. Yeah, and that was
only?
I think 30 days. And I've done it multiple times.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So for me, how I remove that porn addiction, right, is basically understanding that a human has its needs, right? Meaning like you need to express your sexual pleasure.
So just do it instead of watching it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, the thing is that I have been addicted for many, many years.
Oh.
Yeah, since like pretty like adolescent kind of like age. And the thing is that I always wanted to quit the addiction for a very long time. And it's like, it's very hard for me to just quit because you're so used to that routine of yours to like, watch it, that kind of thing, right?
Doing it and then
Correct.
you get used to doing it every day.
Exactly.
Yes, the routine is so cheap dopamine.
Yeah, it's cheap dopamine. And the thing is that when I really tried to quit it, the first week was very hard. I was really craving it. There was one point of time, one day I remember.
What happened to just deleting the app? or locking your phone?
No. I tried, but it's just that it's really very hard.
What happened to just being rational?
No, because it's an addiction since it's more than 10 years, like, of addiction. If it was like food, right? Food for me, I can just, social media is something that I can just, but it's just, porn is just another level of like addiction that I was trying to like, maybe some people might be, okay, it's easy.
Yeah, I think everyone has their own demons.
Yeah, my demons is like, porn, right?
And then, so it's been 30 days?
No, I'm back. Relapsed.
No, but not November. So
no lah, but no, I'm actually, for me, my perspective on like masturbation and whatnot, I think it's perfectly normal to like do whatever you need to do. But the thing is that, do you need porn to do it? That is my question. And the thing is that you don't. You just need to release it. You need to just like, okay, you have some sexual like what you need arouse, but because sometimes because that's natural lah, right? But you just need to release it, and that's it. So for me, I see that logical equation. So for me, it's like, porn is just one form of how I release it. Why not I just remove porn?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't cause harm to people,
exactly,
right? And you are not harming your health to a certain extent, because if you start doing it too much and it starts deforming the way you see the world or your expectations of a sexual relationship, right? That's not very good. If you start seeing people differently, it's not very healthy, right?
Right.
So I think as long as it's healthy, you don't harm people in the process, then it's not too bad.
Yeah, and then the thing is like, I've actually gone down the rabbit hole of like, what is actually, porn addiction. And from the study, it says that for an addiction itself, right, it has to affect your day-to-day life. Meaning like,
you have to stop something that you're doing to
basically like, you cannot really function
normally, right?
without it.
Yeah, it's like if you're smoking, you keep wanting to smoke, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I guess my addiction is not affecting me because I'm working fine.
Yeah, exactly. So there is it's not affecting me lah. It's just that I deem it as an addiction, but it's not to a point where it affects me where like Haris need to go somewhere every like
every 5:30 p.m. Where's Haris?
No, every hour. Haris, why?
In the toilet again now. This guy says
diarrhea.
Allergic to Malaysian food, right?
Hey, that was legit, bro. That was legit. Anyway, but I wouldn't say like. But the thing is that I have stopped watching for 30 days before, and really like, I see the difference. Like after 30 days, I had no.
No.
I still fab lah. Right. It's a natural. No, for me, it's like fapping is natural. Like if you don't, if you disagree,
fab responsibly.
Yeah. Cool. But either way, for me, I feel like I just want to remove that porn addiction. That's it. Right. Fapping is not something that I want to resolve.
Right.
But porn addiction is something that I want to resolve, and I managed to do it. Because for me, it's just that yes, fapping or masturbation, I feel is still natural, but at the same time,
depends on the cadence as well.
Everybody has their own cadence. I don't know. Right, some people can.
It depends on the cadence.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're doing it, it's natural, but on a extreme cadence, then it's not natural anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the definition of addiction is basically something that affects your day-to-day life. So like every hour you need to do it, whether it's smoking, whether it's fapping, whatever, right?
But you don't really need to watch porn every day, right?
Depends. Depends on the person.
No, I mean for yourself.
For myself.
When during the addiction phase, did you need to watch it midday?
No lah, but it's just that like.
No, right? So it's not. And
no. I don't have to watch it every day, but I still do. You get it?
Yes, I understand, but it doesn't affect your day-to-day life, right?
Yeah lah, but for me, I feel like it's something that I want to resolve lah. Yeah, it's not like an addiction lah, but for me, I feel like it is something like an addiction, that kind of thing lah. So I deem it as something that I want to resolve.
The same concept with the rational thing, with the food thing, for example, right? Having sweet food doesn't affect your whatever.
Day to day, exactly. I just want to
rationally, you think it's not healthy, you want to get it out.
Exactly, like TikTok or whatever social media. There's no like.
Well, it affects some people's work. Some people don't work and they scroll, and that's wrong, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it depends on whether 1 hour of 8 hours of your working is disruptive or it's okay, right? So it really depends on.
If 1 out of 8, that's very bad.
That's it depends on the person. If you are someone who's
it's bad because you're in a company. What do you mean? It depends on the person.
I mean, if it's 10, 10 minutes every 1 hour, you scroll, then you do 6 times, it's 1 hour ma.
Right, which means you're not working productively lah, right? Which is not good lah.
Anyway, I feel like it still depends because like for example, every hour you take a 10-minute break.
Okay,
Yeah.
No, break is a break, but if you're watching reels.
Yeah lah. If you're watching reels instead of working while you're working.
Yeah, during working hours.
Yeah, during working hours. But if you need to take a break and your break means you can scroll like for Instagram, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Sure.
If you take a break to just chill after working 1 hour, I think it's fine for me.
So how many breaks do you need in a day? You got lunch
Depends
break?
on the person. I don't know.
It doesn't. It depends on the company, not the person. Right? If I need 7 hours of break and my company allows it, sure.
Right.
But is it correct?
Like in a company, usually there's an hour lunch break, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lunch break is lunch break. Dude.
Yeah lah. But what I'm trying to say is that maybe, for example, you work for an hour, that kind of thing, and then maybe it's like, okay, I need to stretch for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay? Right?
I mean, a stretch is maybe because you have back pain or whatever. Then I understand that lah, right?
At the same time, while you're stretching, you can look at social media. Is that fine?
Are you doing it for stretching purposes or are you doing it for social media purposes?
No lah.
So if you're not stretching, then it's not fine lah, right?
But okay, I think
if
we don't need to.
Then it's fine. If you're not stretching, then it's not fine.
Okay. Either way, right? Like I think it's still something that doesn't really disrupt if you are like, for example,
if you have to stop and you cannot hold a level of focus because of this, then it is not correct.
Define that. Meaning what?
If,
1 hour?
If you cannot focus, right? If you're, okay, shit, I gotta use Instagram halfway through work. Isn't that how you define addiction?
How many times? Like,
no, if
very
it disrupts
often.
If it disrupts your flow of work, then it's, you can't go in. How do you go deep work? How do you go into deep work if you cannot, if you have to,
So deep work is basically where someone
doesn't
just...
this disrupt your deep work if you have to keep using social media throughout work? I mean, if you're a social media person in your office, then that's fine, right? But if you're not a social media person, then it just means that you are not extremely productive, which if your company is okay with it, it's okay with it, right? But if you cannot control it, it's wrong, dude.
Okay. Because like I want to see how we define control, right? In a sense, like, for example, like for me, and every hour that I do work, I have to like stand up to stretch, that kind of thing,
Yeah, stand up and stretch is fine, but we're talking on the topic of addiction.
Yeah,
and that's why
addiction.
you mentioned definition of addiction is you cannot control.
Right.
Ask you 8 hours, don't use social media. Can you do it? And you're like, no, I need 1 hour. It's like, that sounds like addiction to me.
Like 1 hour of full use, because I'm talking about like 10 minutes. But either way, I think
that's still 1 hour.
That's delving down into a bit of like specificity on like nitpicking of like what's that kind of of breaks.
Yeah.
But I guess we can agree on that if it disrupts your work, right?
If it disrupts your work, then it's not good lah. If you need to stop, then it's not very good already lah, right? For the sake of dopamine, not for the sake of stretching, because that's body needs. Different.
Yeah.
For the dopamine, then it's not very healthy.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So, but I think at the same time, it's just that for this dopamine addiction, right? I feel that sometimes we deem that it is addiction. For me, like porn, right? For example, like to you, maybe for me, it's not something that I will be unproductive with
work.
For example, like
For example, porn addiction, you don't do it during working hours.
Exactly lah. Yeah. So it's like it won't really disrupt, no? Yeah. So that addiction or not?
If you lose your focus because you're thinking of porn, then that's disrupting already. I don't know what people think of, but if let's say you don't do it, let's say a smoker doesn't smoke, they're forced themselves to not smoke during working hours, but they're just thinking about it the whole time. That's disrupting it already.
But if they really want to quit it, and because...
What do you mean?
Like if they want to quit smoking...
No, it's up to them if they want to... We're talking about the definition here, right?
But if they quit, like for example, they don't smoke, but the only thing that they can think of is smoking...
Yeah, then it's not healthy already lah, right?
Yeah lah, but because they want to... quit their addiction.
No, then it's fine. It's fine because they're in the journey, right? So,
yeah.
We're defining what is addiction.
Yes.
Right? So
I think
I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. I'm talking about this is addiction. So whether the company can put up with it for 1 year, 2 years, I don't know. Because this person, if this person can still do
consistently,
this, and, if they can do it and still deliver on their work, right? Then
then it's fine lah. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
I think that's where I'm trying to say lah. Like if someone is like, for example, addicted to smoking, but they can do their work. They're okay.
Yeah.
Right?
So
if someone addicted to social media but they can still do their work, it's okay, right?
It's okay if the company is okay.
Right?
That's it.
Okay.
But the default here is it's not productive. right? So the facts here is objectively it's not productive.
Okay.
Because out of 8 hours, you're working 6 hours, for example. It's not productive.
Right.
But
according
if
to
the
the
company
math.
is okay,
Right.
then it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, objectively.
And that's
it's not
yeah.
productive.
Objectively,
That's it.
if you do the
It's-
math, of course,
it's not
yes.
efficient. That's
It's
it.
not. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
Definitely. We after this end already. No,
Okay,
need to.
yeah.
No, we need to. No, wait.
Oh, we need one more time.
Yeah, one more time. Then we just end it already. We summarize and we end already. Yeah, because 1 minute lah. It's fine. Yeah, we're gonna finish it lah very soon. It's gonna be an hour. Okay. Right. Okay, so I think we talk a lot about dopamine. I think we try to figure out what is unproductive way, not a productive way. What is unproductive in terms of addiction, especially during work?
Yeah,
right?
I think fundamentally, if it affects your work, right, and you need to do it, it is unproductive, right? Addiction, I don't know the formal definition, but if you go with your definition, is if it affects you and like you're working and every hour you think about something that, I mean, thinking about stuff is fine, but if it takes your focus away, I think that is something that just makes you unproductive, lah, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know how to define addiction though.
I wrote a paper about addiction when I was in poly, but I forgot.
I think it depends because there's different definitions of addiction,
Correct.
It's not just this because like in your case, the watching porn and those kind of addictions, maybe it happens before you sleep, for example. Maybe I don't know, right? Maybe it happens before you sleep, but it doesn't affect your 9 to 6.
It's not
Does that
the
mean
point
it's not,
where
but it's still addiction, but it doesn't affect your work. So
is it addiction? You know that kind of thing.
I think it's still addiction, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I think if anything affects your work and makes you a less productive person, you're going to lose out to the next competitor that you're going against.
Of
so
course.
by default, you are less competitive. Imagine just you in this alternate universe, player versus player, right? There's Haris here, who's working 8 hours a day, and there's Haris there who's working 6 hours a day because he's addicted to social media, right? Yeah, the company could be okay with both, but
the one that is more...
If they were both going to compete against each other, then the one who's obviously more productive going to win, right? In the long run. In the short run, maybe not much difference, but in the long run, 1% better, right?
Of course, definitely. So I think it's more towards like how we can always be productive as much as possible and maybe find out how we can remove this dopamine-induced addiction.
Find how you can remove things that affects your productivity. I guess productivity is a whole different conversation altogether, right?
Maybe a next topic.
No, correct. Exactly, because you can be productive and still addicted to something.
Exactly.
Right? You can be addicted to, I think porn is a very good example here.
Yeah.
Right? You can be addicted to porn at night, for example, but still 9 to 6, no effect. You can be addicted to social media, but 9 to 6, you're not using it. So then that's a different conversation. You're still addicted and you're productive.
Correct.
Right? So it doesn't correlate. It's two mutually exclusive things.
Unless it gels together.
Then that's bad.
Yeah.
That is bad. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I do agree on that especially. So I feel that no matter what kind of dopamine-induced activity that you do, whether it's good, bad, I think it's something that we have to be rational about because that's how I see things, right? Yeah.
Fundamentally, don't dwell in cheap dopamine. Go for, I think my 2 rules that I set today is try and, if there are 2 options, always go for the option where dopamine is harder to get. You have to fight for it. And rule number 2 is keep yourself healthy, right?
Yeah.
Don't go crazy over something and then just neglect your life and then you may die or you may break relationships with people.
Right.
It's not very good, but sometimes to achieve big goals, you have to be obsessive as well. So you decide yourself, just don't die. If you die or you get sick, that's the end of the journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can reach level 100, but you die at level 50.
Correct.
That kind of thing, right?
So it's like if you aim to reach level 100 in 3 years, but you risk dying in year 2, then it's not worth it anymore.
Exactly.
Right? But if let's say you say, okay, let's reach level 100 in year
10
7.
years.
Year 7, on year 7, right? And don't risk dying at all.
Yeah.
Then, okay lah, you achieve success a little bit slower, but you keep your friendships, keep your relationships, you keep your health, you stay healthy, you stay fit, you keep mentally clear.
Correct. And it's actually more sustainable lah. Because
that's correct.
I mean, life is already very hard, you know.
Life is hard. You gotta
so
hustle.
yeah, exactly.
Stay hard.
But yes, anyway, so I think that one thing maybe you can take away is basically like honestly just rationalize on what are the activities that you're doing, and then I feel that like for me how I resolve certain things is just like see like the rational things behind maybe an addiction, and maybe you can figure out what is the thing that actually really just is the one that you just remove. Like for example, for me, like porn addiction, right? Fapping, I think is fine, but the porn is not.
Right.
So okay, I can just continue.
So define yourself.
Exactly.
Right? What I would say is do an audit of your life, from the moment you wake up to the minute you sleep. Right.
Exactly.
Every single moment, write down what do you do today.
Yep.
Just do it for one day, for example.
Be aware.
Yeah, be aware. Put in conscious effort to do it for one day.
Yep.
9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. What do you do? 10 o'clock, 10:30. What do you do? Right.
Yep.
Write down every single thing down and ask yourself: did you, for example, if you're working and from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, you're mindlessly scrolling. Your could be Instagram, could be social media, could be just reading an article somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Then ask yourself, right? Is this a dopamine inducing activity that makes you unproductive?
Yeah.
Right? Then write it down. It doesn't mean you need to change it, but it's good to be aware that okay, I actually spent 2.5 hours today at work using Instagram
Social
and just
media.
scrolling.
Right.
And, hey, that's not very productive, right? Then think about how we can do things better.
Exactly, because this podcast is all about 1% improvement, right?
Always,
so just be aware of what your issues are, and then after that, it's actually. And
I think rule number one is just you need to be aware first.
Exactly.
Right? If you're not even aware, then
there's no like
move.
direction lah. And then
Step
after that, exactly, like be aware, and then after that, see how you can just reduce by 1%.
Yeah.
Because we're not asking like 50 or even 100%.
Exactly.
Right. Because at least you have some, effort to just reduce it bit by bit, and eventually it will just go away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Half a year. It goes away.
Exactly.
It's fine, right?
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, half a year is nothing. And if you can take away a bad habit in half a year, then
your whole life, like
So let's say you have, I don't know how many bad habits you have, right? Let's say you have 5 bad habits. Consciously put in half a year to remove one, right? Then
in 2.5 years,
you remove all of it, and then you are a way healthier person.
Exactly.
But it starts with you realizing it first, and it's important to do an audit of your
day-to-day. And it's not easy. It's never easy. Especially the longer the addiction is, I tried this like so hard. But it's just a constant effort, and it's something that some people might relapse, and for me, I feel like it's fine, and just have the effort to just clubs again and again.
I have friends who are addicted to going to like Thai clubs, where they go with those, they hang out with escorts and all that. I have friends who are addicted to those things as well. It's quite a common addiction as well, where people match their need for companionship with their level of spending power now. So like growing up, you are broke, right? So if you're lonely, you're just lonely. But over time, I guess humans, you evolve in your careers and you have more spending power now, and people start spending their money, and I can see that there are people out there who are spending their money on like unhealthy things, like going out with escorts and all that. I have friends who are like that, right? And it's not healthy lah. Honestly, it's not healthy. It affects your relationships, your marriage,
it does.
And all that.
Yeah.
So I think in this podcast, as much as you want to respect what you like to do and your own safe space, but you still want to say that whatever you do should contribute to you being 1% better.
Exactly.
And that's what we aim for.
Exactly. All right. So if you like this podcast, if you learned something, do share it with your friends. And if you like this podcast in the video podcast, give a like, thumbs up, comment down. What is something that you're trying to, reduce? Maybe social media, maybe porn, maybe, eating unhealthy food, or even sleeping late and not enough hours, right?
That's another thing.
That's, I think, another thing that we didn't really touch upon, but I think maybe that's another topic for another day. All right. So with that said, thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.